Have you ever noticed how some people can go through difficult situations and think, that was unfortunate, while someone else goes through the exact same thing and immediately thinks, this is my fault? The relationship ends, your fault. Someone is upset, your fault. A friendship changes, your fault. Something goes wrong at work, your fault. You see the drill here. You start carrying responsibility for things that were never yours to carry. And after a while, you don't even realize that you're doing it anymore. It becomes automatic. Today, I want to talk about why everything can feel like your fault, even when it isn't. One of the most uncomfortable experiences for the human brain is uncertainty. We want answers, we want explanations, we want things to make sense because uncertainty feels unsafe. When something painful happens and there isn't an obvious explanation, the brain often creates one. And one of the easiest explanations is, it must be me. Because blaming yourself gives you something certainty never can: control. If it's your fault, maybe you can fix it. If it's your fault, maybe you can prevent it from happening again. And the problem is, certainty feels good even if it's wrong. This pattern often starts much earlier than people realize. Many of us grew up in environments where emotional safety felt unpredictable. Maybe conflict appeared suddenly. Maybe love felt conditional. Maybe other people's emotions felt bigger than your own. And without realizing it, you learned something powerful. Pay attention, stay alert, keep people happy, prevent problems. Because if something goes wrong, it could affect your safety. And over time, responsibility becomes a survival strategy. Not because you're responsible for everything, but because believing you are responsible feels safer than accepting that some things are outside of your control. At first, self blame can look like accountability, can even look like self awareness, right? You reflect, you apologize, you examine your behavior, these healthy things, right? But there's a difference between accountability and excessive responsibility. Accountability asks, what was my part? Excessive responsibility asks, how is all of this my fault? One creates growth, the other creates shame. And shame has a way of spreading into everything. You stop trusting yourself. You question every decision. You replay conversation. You search for mistakes. You become your own prosecutor, constantly gathering evidence against yourself. The hardest part is that self blame often feels true, not because it is actually true, but because you've practiced it for so long. The brain gets better at whatever it repeats. And if you spend years looking for reasons to blame yourself, you'll find it everywhere, even in situations where you did nothing wrong, even in situations that had nothing to do with you at all. The brain starts treating self blame as a default setting. One of the most helpful questions I learned isn't, was this my fault? It actually is, what evidence would I have if it wasn't? Because most people usually collect evidence for guilt and they very rarely collect evidence for innocence. What if there were factors that you couldn't control? What if other people were responsible for their own choices? What if circumstances played a role? What if the story is more complicated than your brain is ever able to realize? If everything feels like your fault, it doesn't automatically mean that you're responsible for everything. Sometimes it means you spent so much time carrying responsibility that your brain forgot how to put it down. And healing isn't about learning how to blame other people. It's learning how to stop blaming yourself for things that never belonged to you in the first place. Thank you for listening. And if you resonated, subscribe because this is what we talk about in this channel here.